Hello YouTube friends, all three of you. I'm back again. It's been several months since I've done a YouTube post, but I've been taking a lot of time out and thinking about things, and today I want to talk about what we call this liminal period. It's perhaps, some might even describe it as a bit of a midlife period. And you know, I've been working on personal development and improvement since about November 20, we'll say about, but since November 2018, when I first joined the Fraternity of Excellence, and I had a great insight in terms of what it was as a man to develop and to make improvements. But now at 49, do you know, I find myself, I think I'm entering an existential midlife crisis, and you know, viscerally I sense the walls are closing in, and it feels like something that shouldn't be happening to me because of all this work that I've done in the past, but still time feels like it's running out, and I feel like I'm entering this area between your 50s and the 60s they call Sniper's Alley. And I wonder, what has my life amounted to? What useful future lies ahead? And is it just more of the same that is past, or is it just more of the same of what's past, but just a gradually declining quality? And I reject that prognosis completely out of hand, but like a ghost that lurks in the shadows, the anguish groans of this can no longer be ignored. You know, they keep me awake at night. Now I would say that most of my friends and my contemporaries, they are ploughing a successful career furrow. Some have done incredibly well. I'd almost say that they're semi-retired and they've got enough money in the bank to see them well off into their twilight. But whenever I make comparisons with where I'm at with them, I get quite nervous about my progress. Now, on the outside, we could say that I probably haven't done too bad. I've met that social compact of what society expects from me. You know, I've been working, I've been paying my taxes, I've been putting a little bit away in savings. So it all looks good on the theory on the outside, but on the inside, I'm suffocating. I'm gasping for air. I wonder, how much longer can I keep up this pretense? And I would say that on a weekday, I often feel like I wasn't made for this earth. This straight-jacketed function that I've been wedged into. But every day I put on a brave face and I fill out my spreadsheets and I write my corporate strat plans. And I pray that they aren't inducing me towards an early death, or at least killing off my body as they hold my mind captive. And it irks me that it has taken me 50 years to realize who I am, to understand what my strengths are and what my weaknesses are, what fires me up and what takes the wind out of my sails. And I so admire those who have worked that out earlier, and the people who have built a life around this. Now, on the outset, I must say I have much to be grateful for. There are many blessings in my life, you know, because God has blessed me abundantly with a wife, with a family, with some assets. He's allowed me to work for, latterly over this last couple of years, a really decent and caring company. I know that this can all be taken away in a heartbeat. But one of the challenges that I'm beginning to understand, and as I look back over my years, I realize that I have spent every waking moment of my life almost in a deep sense of dread. I don't really enjoy the journey at the moment, and I think that that's a problem. And my current role, what I will say is that with all its frustrations and indeed its enjoyable moments, I think I've finally been able to crystallize in my mind what my strengths are, what my weaknesses are, what I like, what I don't like. And I now can truthfully say that I am not what I think, if you think of what they call the Myers-Briggs typology, I am not a sensor, and I've often been surrounded by these type of people. They're the thrusting types, you know, the machine-like people who grind it out day after day with their relentless desire for control and to shape life as they see it and as they want it. And these sensors, you know, I deeply admire them. I've always wanted to be one. But I do see that it's not me. I can never be that person. And I have to stop trying to fit essentially a circular peg into a square hole. I think as I think about it more now, I think that my role is perhaps to be a little bit more of what you might call, the warrior poet. Perhaps I'm a little more intuitive. Numbers, of course, are important when you're working in business. But I definitely think that the people and the meaning of life is equally as important. And so I hope very much in the future to live out more of my role, what I see as inspiring people and moving people to a better life. This is what gives my life meaning and fire. And I want to do more of it. And over this last couple of years, when I've been posting these posts or I've been writing on my blog, I've made a series of posts, and they've always been trying to explore the question posed by Francis Schaeffer. So how then shall we live? What does it mean to have a good life? Intellectually, if you're a Christian, we would know the answer. We could look, for example, to the Westminster Catechism, which says that our purpose of life is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. And I think if you look over my last posts and my last videos, you will see an attempt to answer that. And I've gone down various rabbit holes looking at everything from motorcycling all the way through to Christian nationalism. And I do think perhaps in this latter area it's been quite a contentious subject. Maybe some might say that. I've waded into it quite clumsily. And I do think ultimately it's a practical dead end, because it ultimately really all I'm looking at to try and understand is what is the framework by which we order our lives so that we can live to our highest ideals. And the culture war and thinking about all this different types, for example, Christian nationalism, is distracting. It gets in the way, and I think ultimately the culture war is for other people. I think it's for people who have their lives dialed in. It's not for me. I get sucked into it because I'm interested, I'm curious, I want to know everything. But I would lie at bed at night, fighting straw men, making up arguments to things that ultimately don't matter. We have at least all of us 16 waking hours of the day, maybe a little bit more, and there's enough to occupy us in these 16 waking hours without wondering about what evil plans Klaus Schwab was up to or whether the election was stolen. And maybe, if like me, you're a Christian or a conservative, you have felt virtuous in your outrage, thinking that you were doing a good thing by getting angry about all this. But I do wonder, have we been played? Are we squandering what useful energy and time we've been given on ephemerality, on nonsense, on stuff that is passing? Instead, I want to challenge us to live our lives and to build our families as a rebuke to this trash world that we see around us. Let us create a valuable heritage in how we live, how we go about our day-to-day things, taking the good from the past and from the present and building them together. And let us not give the devil undue attention in this world, and let us not waste our energies on stuff that have no implications closer to this concentric circles of where our areas of control are. So to get to my point, over the next couple of months, I really do want to double down, and I do want to think very much more carefully about what does it mean to live well, to live right as a man, to live right as a Christian man. And I think as I enter into this liminal period that I was talking about with this midlife crisis, there is a sense of urgency to communicate what I've learnt and what I've understand over this last number of years. In my view, and I've said it before, everything has meaning. We live in a world which is an arena of action. We have a mind and we've got physical bodies. And for me, the question very much is, how do we bring the mind and the body together and make them play nicely so that we can live the most wonderful, glorious, God-honouring life? And the one thing that I've definitely realised over the years is that there is so much more beyond this humdrum work cubicle and going to Target on a Friday evening to pick up the groceries. Life is pregnant with meaning and experiences, and part of our responsibility, I think, as being people here on this earth is to is to understand, how do we embrace this life that we've been given? How do we squeeze every drop out of it and manage to make it to our 70, having done everything that we were supposed to do and put here on this earth to do, and lived it competently and lived it well? Now, I have to say, I go through short periods where I drink deeply from this well of life, and I have some wonderful memories of many times earlier in my life and latterly with the family. But I also as well am liable to be stuck in the wasteland of dull mindlessness and at times even depression. And that's even indeed something that's happened to me before. But I am tired, or happening to be even to me relatively recently, but I am tired and I'm exhausted of this roller coaster of mindlessness and elation. Where can I get myself in the middle of it? How can I get more out of life? So I've been making a number of changes over the last couple of months. And I'm going to get talking about this over the next couple of weeks. There's I think he's a bit of a Twitter fitness trainer. He's quite well known, I think, on the circuit. He's called AJ Cortez. And someone sent me a mail that he sent out recently, and he makes essentially 3 areas about how he views kind of life should be done. And I think there's something to this. He says that we should eat clean, we should live mean. Wrong, I'll try that again. We should eat clean, we should live lean, and we should train mean. I think me personally, and maybe you as well, we have to stop tinkering around the edges if we want to be successful in life. We have to get on with designing our lives according to how we're built. And then we have to work the design, we have to work the plan that we've designed. And as I say, I'm going to be focusing on this over the next couple of weeks. So just a bit of a flavour of some of the areas that I want to talk about. I've started going to bed earlier, and I've started getting up earlier. Why? Why not give myself the gift of my mind's sharpest moments? Why should that go to someone else? I've been reading and I've been meditating and praying through a psalm a day. And I think this is something really interesting, and I think there's a lot more can be said about this. I've been much stricter with my diet. I've being a bit more careful with the type of food that I'm eating. I'm keeping it lower carbohydrate. I'm introducing fermented food, and I'm cutting out as far as possible any of the ultra high processed foods. I've also made a point of getting rid, or cutting out, shall we say, all the news articles, all the political YouTube, and any mindless or pointless TV. And then as well, I've got to a stage where every single day I'm planning my day, or at least making a broad plan, and I'm finding one highlight that I'm going to complete in that day. Come hell or high water, that gets done. And then I'm breaking my life, and also additionally I've broken my life into projects, and I'm working, taking daily small actions that I can across the projects to get things moving and to keep thinking about them. And by breaking it into projects, it makes it a bit more bite-sized, and it constantly gives you something to think about, and you understand being able to compartmentalize and drop things into boxes and tasks into boxes. It's quite a powerful technique. And then I'm attempting to spend a little bit more time in my strengths each day, because this is where I get my energy from. And if you're not working in your strengths and you're working in your weaker areas, you just become depleted and drained. And then finally, I'm creating space to think. I'm writing my thoughts out, and then building them up in what we call common books. And then as ideas come and ideas percolate, if the ideas seem useful, I'm starting to work them out. I'm starting to implement them and testing it and seeing if it works. So listen, that's all for now. I wanted to give you a bit of an update. And if you like what I'm saying, please, of course, give me a like, maybe subscribe, pass it on. But ultimately, this time I understand in my life is more about thinking out loud. And as I think out loud, more ideas come, and I'm just building it as I go. So listen, hopefully that's useful, and I pray the Lord's blessing upon you.